Hello and welcome to Morris Animal Refuge's PetSmart virtual orientation. First of all, just to give you guys a little bit of background, I'm going to talk about our shelter history and mission. Morris Animal Refuge was founded in 1874 by Elizabeth Morris. She was one of our nation's pioneers in animal welfare. Morris Animal Refuge is a 501(c)(3) organization who is committed to adoption, education, and high-quality care with the goal of finding positive and humane outcomes for animals in need. So here is some contact information. Our main site of the shelter is located on 12th and Lombard Street in Philadelphia. Here is our shelter phone number if you need to get in touch with anybody, and this is our website for more information. In terms of staff, Devlin is our volunteer and outreach coordinator, so he handles a lot of our volunteering. His hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 9:30 to 5:30. On Sundays, when Devlin is not in, your point of contact will be Jasmine Harlan, who is our adoptions counselor. And on Mondays, again, when Devlin is not there, your point of contact is Elisa Rubenstein, who is our life-saving manager. My name is Florence South. I am Morris's offsite adoption center assistant, and my hours are a little funky because I'm part-time, so I didn't add them up here, but you can email me anytime at fsouth@morrisanimalrefuge.org. So getting into PetSmart specifically, the PetSmart that we work with is the Oregon Avenue PetSmart, and the address is listed right here. We have volunteering hours on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 6 to 8:30 p.m., and on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 12 to 3 p.m. So just an overview of Morris's volunteer program as a whole. Our volunteer work provides us an opportunity to deepen and expand the network of support and care around Morris Animal Refuge's needs. Through this vital work, we seek to enrich the lives of our shelter population and expedite holistic, sustainable adoption outcomes, offer meaningful, hands-on personal and professional development for our volunteers, and streamline processes at the shelter in order to expand staff capacity for additional programming and animal care projects and initiatives. So, in working collaboratively with volunteers and staff, Morris Animal Refuge is committed to, first of all, the safety of our volunteers, animals, and staff, mutual measurable growth, diversity, equity, and inclusion, trust, reliability, and active communication, and education and training. So, just to give you a little oversight of what our adoption center looks like, this is the front of our adoption center. So, you can see here we have 4 cat condos or kennels. Um, there will be little cards on the front just detailing some information about the animals inside for potential adopters. This is the door that you will enter through. Um, this is where that door first leads to, that entrance, and then you can see here this is the back of our 4 kennels, and then this is our little office space. This is our wall of documents that you will hear me refer back to a few times throughout this video. Enrichment and adoption support at the South Philly PetSmart. So here are some of the many benefits of our partnership with PetSmart. We actually receive grant funding for each PetSmart adoption. So the more cats that we get adopted through PetSmart, the more grant funding that they give us. Because of the smaller number of cats at PetSmart, each cat is given extra spotlight. So this is a great option for some cats who are super great cats but have just been overlooked at our main site because we tend to have a lot more cats there. It also provides more flexibility in adoption and volunteering opportunities in the South Philadelphia community by extending our range. It also frees up space at the shelter, allowing us to help more animals. It also provides 20 additional adoption hours for the refuge, which more than doubles our main site's adoption hours. So, as I mentioned, shifts take place during these adoption hours, and our responsibilities include cat care and kennel cleaning, which is just basic animal husbandry, cat enrichment, and facilitating and processing adoptions. Once you are onboarded as a PetSmart volunteer, you'll be given access to our Slack, which we use to communicate important information about all the cats that will be present during your shift. In this, we will detail any medical or behavioral disclaimers, basically things that you should know about the cats that you're going to be working with, and information that you can then relay to potential adopters. There is a wall of documents in the adoption center outlining frequently asked questions and other important or emergency information. So, here is a little look at what our Slack looks like. The purpose of our Slack is really to provide quick and easy communication between you, the volunteer, and more staff, and to answer any questions. So you can see over here, we have a couple of different channels, like adoption promo content, where if you get any good shots of the cats while you're on your shift, you can add that in there. Any general announcements, the cat population channel, which I'll get more into, and then some other lesser used channels but still important, such as channel requests, general questions, I need help, introductions, small talk and chit chat, and a suggestion box, which is anonymous. So, getting more into our cat population channel, this is just an example of what a typical cat population post looks like. So, me or Devlin will post in here after we have dropped off cats at PetSmart, and we will say, "Hey guys, we dropped off some cats today." In this case, all of the cats that were at the adoption center were spayed and neutered that past Sunday and have post-op instructions. A little note about what potential adopters should be aware of, and then a little bit of information on the cats. So we give a description of the cat, how old they are, and a little bit what their personality is like. For example, with Lane here, we have he's a troublemaker and likes throwing his toys into his water bowl. And then uh, down here we have Lisa, as who's a little bit antsy about being held and was nervous about transport. So this is all really good information for you as a volunteer. If we have any medical or behavioral disclaimers, we will also note them here, such as if a cat has dental disease or a heart murmur, just things that adopters should be aware of. So the dress code at PetSmart. We do require you to wear long pants as it is a safety issue. And the same thing with closed-toed shoes, so no sandals, flip-flops, or other open-toed shoes. You have to wear a sleeved shirt, which doesn't mean that you need long sleeves at all time, but just not having a tank top or sleeveless attire. We also do not permit any unprofessional clothing, such as clothing with offensive language. So, getting into some volunteering basics. At the start of each shift, you'll need to locate a PetSmart employee and ask them to notify a manager to let you into the adoption center. Typically, there will always be someone at the register, and you can just go up and ask them to let the manager know, and they will meet you at the adoption center. The adoption center is on the left side of the building near the back. And at this time, as the manager is unlocking the door for you, you can ask them to bring you the iPad for adoptions processing. As soon as you get that iPad, make sure you boot it up and log into Shelter Love to make sure that it's all set up if you do have an adoption that day. Once you're inside the adoption center, you want to make sure that you're signing in for your shift in Volgistics using the QR code, which is on that wall of documents. This is to make sure that you're getting credit for the hours and that we're able to track them for you. And at the close of every shift, some important things to do is just make sure that all the cats are healthy and their kennels are closed. Sign out of your shift in logistics using the QR code and close the adoption center door. One really important thing to note is that the door locks automatically anytime you close it. So if there is a moment where you have to use the bathroom or something, make sure you leave the door cracked or you're going to have to go and get an employee to let you back in again. At the end of every shift, you also want to return the iPad to a PetSmart employee so that they can plug it in to charge it so it's all ready for the next day of adoptions. Now we're just going to get into some cat body language, which is obviously really important as you'll be dealing with cats at PetSmart. So here we have an interested kitty with a pretty neutral tail. Here we have a friendly kitty with a tail straight up. Attentive kitty, their eyes are looking right at you, their ears are still pretty neutral, and then a relaxed kitty, um, they have pretty soft eyes. Again, their ears are neutral and their tail is pretty neutral. And now we have a trusting kitty that's rolling on their back, showing you your belly. And a little note here it says, this is not a belly rub requests. So cats actually do not appreciate usually petting anywhere other than their head. This is because they have more nerve receptors there, so typically it makes them overstimulated and they don't enjoy it as much as they do as a chin behind the ear or top of the head scratch. Here we have a friendly and relaxed kitty who's slow blinking at us, tail tucked around, but still pretty neutral. We have a content kitty who's sleeping curled up, but again, still you can tell they're relaxed, their ears are in a neutral position. And now we're getting into some more not approachable kitties. Here is a conflicted or cautious kitty. You can see there's a note to look at the ears here. The ears are radiating outwards so that they can hear all of the surrounding noises, and their tail is in a little bit less than neutral position, more of a 45-degree angle here. Here are some signs of energetic kitties. When they're being playful, they are batting at a toy. An excited kitty will be scratching. And then we have a scent marking kitty. When they're rubbing up against you, they're actually using their scent glands to mark you. And then we have an anxious kitty here. You can see that their ears are a little bit furrowed, their tail is down. Now we have signs that you need to give a cat space. Here is a predatory kitty. You can see they're in kind of hunting mode. They're low to the ground. Their tail is low to the ground. We have a worried kitty here. That tail is super tucked up under them. Their ears, again, are a little bit furrowed. And then, even more worried, we have a frightened kitty. They have that airplane ears. Their ears are completely flat. And again, they're making themselves really small and looking for somewhere to hide. And then we have a threatened kitty. They may be hissing or vocalizing at you. Their ears, again, are tucked very back and they're kind of backing away from you, letting you know to give them space. Now, a terrified kitty is going to have a more poofy tail. They also, you might see that arched back position. And then when they're super terrified, they might actually show some signs that are kind of similar to more aggressive behaviors, such as vocalizing, hissing. Um, you can see that their tail is still really poofy, but it's up now, and they are again in that arch position, but they have kind of their hack was up back there. When a cat is swishing their entire tail back and forth, they're most likely irritated. So again, you should give them some space. And a disgusted kitty right here, just kind of leaning back away from you. So one of the common themes throughout that kind of segment of this presentation was looking at the cat's tails. If you're unsure or new to cat body language, looking at their tail is a really great place to start. Usually, when a cat's tail is up like this, they're friendly and content. When their tail is bushy or like puffed up like this, they are defensive or startled. When a cat is unsure, it'll be at that kind of 45-degree angle. And when a cat is amicable, content, it's pretty neutral here. When a cat's tail is pointing downwards, they are upset and can potentially be aggressive, but not always. And when a cat is upset or submissive, that tail will be tucked between their legs, just like a dog's would be. So, here are just some additional behavior signs to look out for. Happy cats will be purring, headbutting, and scent marking with their face, swishing their tail long and slowly, and greeting you with a lowered head. They also might be slow blinking at you. A frightened or nervous cat will tense or freeze in place. They might be hiding in the litter box or at the back of the kennel. Their ears will be flatter, be crouching down, trying to make themselves small. Lip licking is another sign of fear in cats, and they also might have their tail lowered. A defensive or aggressive kitty will be vocalizing, hissing, growling, showing you their teeth. Again, they will have their ears flat. They might have an arched back and stand sideways to appear larger and more threatening. And they will have a rapid swish of their lower tail, and they might be lunging, biting, or scratching at you. So, keep a cat's body language in mind to assess their mood. If cats are defensive, just give them space. Also, another thing to note is to give cats time to adjust to your presence and let the cat lead the interaction. Don't invade their safe zone. Usually, you can offer them a hand, tentatively raise your fingers to allow them to smell you. If they then approach you, that's a great time to give them some head scratches. But if they back away, take that as a sign to just give them some space and leave them alone. Another great way to get a cat to open up is to use a laser pen or a wand toy if the cat seems nervous. And again, like I said before, focus on petting a cat's head and be gentle. You also want to reinforce positive behavior, such as if a scared cat is approaching you with treats. We always have plenty of treats at PetSmart. So, some handling tips. When you are picking up a cat, support their whole body with your hand, placing one hand under their front legs and one hand under their hind to prevent their legs from dangling. Apply gentle pressure against your body to make the cat feel secure. Do not scruff the cats. So, scruffing is picking up the cats by their neck or their shoulder skin, and never pick the cats up by their legs. If a cat is nervous or frozen or aggressive and you're concerned about picking them up or you need to rekennel them, you can place a towel over the cat to calm them down and prevent them from biting or scratching. So, even though we have kind of given you some idea about aggressive kitties or what to do when a cat is not happy with you, we do pre-vet all of our cats at the main shelter to make sure that they tolerate handling. So 9 times out of 10, the cats are either going to be friendly or just a little bit shy. So all of our cats are previously spayed or neutered unless we note otherwise. They are all microchipped. They are all vaccinated with rabies and FERCP, and they all have rabies certificates. They have all been recently examined by a veterinarian and are not receiving any current treatment, so all of the cats at PetSmart will be healthy. PetSmart also does not allow us to bring over any FIV or FELV positive cats for now, although they have said that they will be changing this policy the next year or so. They also are not going to be on any special diets, so we feed the cats all the same thing over there just to make it easier for volunteers and because PetSmart provides the food for us. And again, these cats are able to tolerate handling. So, just some terms or supplies to familiarize yourself with. The cleaning supplies that we use at PetSmart are gloves and masks, Rescue, which is an animal safe disinfectant cleaner, Windex to clean the windows, dishwashing liquid to clean the bowls, a handheld dustpan and broom, paper towels. We have a large broom and dustpan. We have a mop that's located in PetSmart's loading dock area, a hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and trash can and bags. And then in terms of cat care, we have both dry and wet cat and kitten food. We have bowls and utensils for food. We have lots of enrichment toys and treats. We have litter boxes, litter and litter box scoops. We have clean linens. We have a soiled linens container. We have blue adoption folders for our kitties, which is each of our cats' information. We have animal biosigns, which are on there is a sign on the front window that adopters can see, and there's also a more detailed sign on the back on the metal bars for our volunteers. There's also a stepping stool to reach the top shelves and to reach those higher up kennels. And we also have temporary kennels or cat carriers that we will often bring over there. So, looking at where all these items are stored, we have our trash bags, gloves, and masks in this cabinet over here. This is below the wall of documents. And then all of our other kind of cleaning supplies are over here. And then kind of pivoting to the left, we have a dirty linens bin. We have our litter boxes and scoops. And we have in this storage bin, we have wet food and utensils, which is only used when the cats aren't eating the dry food at PetSmart. Otherwise, we just give them dry food. Above that, on the left, we have um, this crate of toys and treats. Up here, we have some bubbles, some catnip, and a watering can that you can use to refill the water dishes. And then we have our dry food over here. So, if you ever find that the adoption center is low on or out of supplies, in the cases of food and litter, this is provided by PetSmart. So you can just notify any PetSmart employees and you can go grab supplies. However, you want to make sure that before you grab these supplies, before you open them, you make sure that a PetSmart employee is scanning it so that they can update their inventory. If anything else is running low, such as linens, cleaning supplies, or others, you can shoot us an email at volunteering@morrisanimalrefuge.org, or you can just send us a message in the Slack, which is usually quicker and easier. So this is the food and litter that we use. We use Dr. Elsie's litter here. We use Science Diet adult for our cats that are over 1 year old. And then we have our kitten food Science Diet that's used for any cat that's under 1 year old. This also is just for your reference. This is a list of all of the appropriate food that PetSmart will provide for us and the litter. So I touched on this a little bit already, but in terms of our feeding schedule at PetSmart, unless otherwise specified, each cat will get 1 cup of dry food and a bowl of fresh water. The wet food in the adoption center is in case the cats are not eating their dry food, and if this is the case, we will most likely let you know. You come in and you notice that the dry food seems to be untouched, please let us know and we can kind of inform you to either give them wet food or give them a little bit more time. You want to toss out all of the old food that is there and provide with new food. And also, you want to be giving them treats, as we have lots of treats for them, as we really want to make this adoption center a positive experience for cats. You can get water for refilling the water bowls from the water fountain, and you can wash the bowls in the restroom. The water fountain is next to the restroom, and this is further down on the left side of PetSmart, but we will go over all of this when you're on site at PetSmart for your first orientation shift. So, in terms of daily cleaning, you can leave the cat in the kennel for daily cleaning. If a cat is irritable, please let us know. And again, either shoot us an email at the volunteering email or just send us a message on the Slack. Make sure you wear gloves and you change in between each kennel just in case of infection. Again, we do pre-vet all of our cats, but it's good to just be on the safe side. If the linens aren't heavily soiled, shake out the debris onto the floor. If they're soiled, place in the dirty linens tub and replace with the clean linens. If they're super soiled, you like with feces or anything like that, you can place them in the trash. That's kind of up to your discretion. Every day you want to just sweep the floor and put it in the trash can. You want to throw away any disposable food bowls, any leftover food or water, and wash the bowls if needed. You want to also scoop the litter boxes daily, empty the dirty litter, and provide fresh if there's diarrhea or if the box is just heavily soiled. Now, in terms of deep cleaning, this is in cases like a cat is leaving PetSmart as they have been adopted, if a cage is heavily soiled, such as if there's diarrhea or vomit or urine, or in the unlikely event of a disease outbreak. You want to remove the cat from the kennel during the cleaning process. You can just let them hang out in the adoption center as long as the doors are closed. You want to again wear gloves and change in between each kennel. You want to remove everything from the kennel, including litter boxes, linens, the bowls, the toys, and you want to spray the litter boxes, the metal bowls, and the cage itself with rescue and allow it to sit for at least 5 minutes. And then you want to rinse with water and dry with paper towels. You want to place any dirty linens in the plastic dirty linen bin, and again, throw them away if they are heavily soiled. You want to sweep the debris from the kennel onto the floor, and then sweep that floor debris up and deposit it in the trash. Again, you're spraying rescue in the entire enclosure, including both sides of the door and the ceiling of the kennel, and let that sit for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes is up, you can spray it again if it's completely dry, or if you have sprayed it down enough, you can just get right to scrubbing with a paper towel to remove any remaining debris and dirt. In the event of a disease outbreak, you want to repeat this process with the rescue, again letting it sit for 10 minutes to make sure it's killing all of the bacteria. If a cat is leaving PetSmart as they've been adopted, then you can place the litter box, food bowls, and water bowls upside down inside the kennel to indicate that it's ready and clean for the next cat. Okay, so now we're going to get into some medical health things. So, if you notice a non-emergent symptom, you can either send us a message in the Slack or send us an email at volunteering@morrisanimalrefuge.org. All of these non-emergencies versus urgent emergencies is listed on our wall of documents, so you don't need to know this off the top of your head. You don't need to know like every single detail on this list. It is just good to have a general idea. So non-emergencies include sneezing, eye discharge, decreased appetite for less than 24 hours, soft but formed stool, diarrhea not improving or worsening after 24 to 48 hours, a single episode of vomiting in animals that are otherwise acting normally and behaving well, and lack of bowel movement for 24 to 46 hours in adult animals. So, in the case of an urgent emergency, you would need to call the on-call Morris staff member or this number here, which is the after hours. That's going to be, if it's not in the hours of 9:30 to 5:30, you want to call this after hours number, which will be the case for the evening shifts. So, some emergencies include severe vomiting and diarrhea, more than 2 episodes in a 24-hour period, refusal to eat for more than 24 hours, difficulty breathing, choking, nonstop gagging or coughing. In cats, difficulty breathing often looks like open mouth breathing and panting. That is an urgent emergency. Lethargy for more than 24 hours in an adult animal. If you come in and you find a cat unconscious or not responsive, that's an emergency. If you notice any bleeding from their nose, mouth, rectum, or if you see any blood in their urine, and if they are unable to pass urine for more than 12 hours or straining or uncomfortable when urinating, this will be more prevalent in male cats. Just something to note. Another urgent emergency is inability to pass stool for more than 36 hours in adult animals, or straining or uncomfortable when defecating. Any trauma that you notice, such as lameness, signs of pain or distress, wounds or laceration, any injury to a pet's eyes, such as scratching, swelling, bleeding, or you suspect that the pet has eaten something poisonous. In terms of behavioral health, if an animal is struggling behaviorally, such as they're super, super nervous, they won't come out of hiding, they're hissing, they're showing signs of overstimulation, then please shoot us an email or you can again send us a message in the Slack. If there is ever an event of a bite or scratch incident, we are referring to any scratch that breaks the skin. You must call Morris Animal Refuge staff immediately for further instruction. This is because we need to make sure that you are okay, that the cat's okay, and we also legally have to fill out some forms with the health department for rabies monitoring. So now we're getting into more of the fun things. So you're going to be doing a lot of enrichment with our cats. So handling the cats, playing with them, and coaxing the shy cats out of their shells is not only one of the most rewarding parts of volunteering, it's also one of the most important for the cats. It helps them adjust to the space and be more sociable. This really increases their chance of getting adopted. We encourage you to play with the cats in the adoption center, so it's okay to take them out of their kennel. When you do so, you just want to make sure the door to the adoption center is closed so that the cats can't just wander into PetSmart. You only ever take out one cat at a time. The only time that this ever will not be an issue is if cats are a bonded. Sometimes we bring over bonded pairs that are adults. And when you let them out, you can let them out together. However, we will specifically in that situation let you know. Otherwise, do not have more than one cat out at a time. And if the cat is not receptive to being removed from the kennel, you do not want to force them to come out because it's going to be super hard for you to get them to go back into the kennel. So, just in general, some housekeeping. In addition to making sure the cat kennels are clean, it's important to keep the adoption center itself clean. After your shift, return all of the cleaning supplies, food, etc., to their original places in the adoption center. Make sure that daily we are thoroughly sweeping the floor, and if needed, you can mop the floor. You want to use the red-handled mop bucket in the loading dock area of PetSmart. You can take any mop, and this is a kind of recipe for the mop, or there is a specific hose that already pumps out this mixture. And you want to fill the mop bucket about 1/3 of the way. So, in terms of the more boring stuff, such as files and paperwork, although it is super important for keeping track of all of our cats, we have a large white binder in the adoption center that has a log of all the cats who have been to PetSmart. We also have copies of each cat's medical history in folder sleeves that correspond to the cat's kennel number. Once you've completed an adoption, it's super helpful to Morris staff, as it's kind of one less thing for us to do. If you write the name and address of the adopter as well as the adoption date on the cat log. You can also remove the cat's medical history packet from the folder sleeve and place it in the back pocket of the binder. There is also a black binder in the adoption center that has helpful information and protocols, including step-by-step walkthroughs of the adoption process. In the same area as the binder, there is a black file organizer containing some additional documents, such as a blue adoption folder for each of the cats, which is given to adopters during the adoption process. This has information not only on the cat's medical history themselves, but also on Morris Animal Refuge, and kind of some information on adopting a new cat, microchips, pet insurance, and all that jazz. Adoption folder attachments in manila folders for adopters who have cats, dogs, or kids at home who they will be introducing the cat to. It also has kennel cards that we fill out for each cat and then hang on the hooks outside of the cat kennel for potential adopters. So, as you will be directly processing and facilitating these adoptions, we just wanted to touch on kind of our policy on adoptions. So, we actually use the adopters welcome approach, which is aimed to break down barriers surrounding adoption. All of our adoptions are conversation based. So instead of having invasive background checks and a super long application process, we talk to adopters and find out if they would be a good fit with the animal. This policy puts trust in potential adopters in our community that they are adopting because they want to do good and will provide good homes for our animals. This process has actually proven to not increase adoption returns. So that is one of the biggest concerns for people when some criticism of the adoptions welcome approach is like, oh well, we are just giving these cats out to anyone. How do we know if we're going to take good care of them? They're just going to bring them back in a week. This is actually proven not to be the case. We do not see more returns. We do not see an increase in animal cruelty or neglect. These people are actually providing awesome care for these animals. So, here are some tips for meet and greets with potential adopters. Try to engage anyone who shows interest in the cats. It can be helpful to say, let me know if you have any questions about any of our cats. So, this is like people will often be browsing around PetSmart. They'll come up to the window, see the cats there. You can just poke your head out of the adoption center, say, hey, let me know if you have any questions. I'm here. And something like that. Or even just smiling at an adopter through the glass is really giving these PetSmart customers a positive experience. If a client wants to meet one of our cats, please introduce them. This is one of the really important parts of the adoption process is the clients actually meeting the cats and getting to know them. While you are processing the adoption itself, make sure that you remember to place the cat back inside its kennel so as to not distract from the important information that you might be giving the adopter. Another tip is if the adopter has children who are meeting the cat, you want to place yourself between the child and the cat to supervise the interaction and model gentle petting around the head to the kid. You can also give the child treats to the cat so that they kind of bond with them. And maybe this is especially good for kids who are a little more nervous around cats or haven't been around cats before. So the general adoption process takes around 30 to 40 minutes. So first you want to perform a meet and greet with the adopter where they get to meet the cat. If they decide that they want to go through with the adoption, they complete the application, which is on a QR code, which is found on our wall of documents. This application takes about 10 minutes. It really just asks them a little bit about their pet ownership history so that we can better um, guide them and give them advice. Um, then you, the volunteer, would review and approve, or in rare cases, reject the application. So basically, you're just looking for anything super concerning on there, but 9 times out of 10, we approve the application and add the pet to their account. You have the adopter watch an adoption counseling video. Again, this is on a QR code in our wall of documents. The video is about 7 to 9 minutes long, so it's not super long, but it is some great information about what to do when the adopter gets home with their cat. Um, then you, the volunteer, and the adopter complete the transaction. So, what you do is after you approve their application, you send them the adoption contract and the link to for payment. The adopter will go through the contract, sign everything, and complete the payment. And this is all done in Shelter Love. Again, there's a step-by-step walkthrough of this in the black binder in the adoption center. However, we will also go through all of this with you a few times in person to make sure that you're super comfortable with it. After this adoption is finalized, everything has been paid for and signed and all of that jazz. You, the volunteer, can take a photo of the adopter and the animal. This is preferred as it's really great for promotional purposes, but it's not absolutely necessary, especially if you ask an adopter, hey, can I get a picture of you and your new cat for promotional reasons? And they decline. That's perfectly okay. You don't have to push it or anything. It's just always good to ask. You then provide the adopter their blue adoption folder that corresponds to their specific cat and some take home food that we put in a little green baggie. We provide about 3 to 5 cups of dry food that we put in these bags so that the adopters can transition over to the new food. You then place the animal in a cardboard carrier unless the adopter has come with a carrier, in which case you can use that. And then you want to congratulate the adopter and send them on their way. So all of our adoptions are processed using the iPad and the Shelter Love website. Here is a live demo of the adoption application and the questionnaire, if you're just curious about what that process looks like. And here is the counseling video that we share with the adopters, just in case you are curious. Now, after the adopter completes their portion of the transaction, you'll receive a notification in Shelter Love. In the cart area, you'll have the option to complete the transaction. Click Complete Transaction. You don't need to input a department or fund, so click OK. Click Continue on the Add Memos page. On the final screen, select Materials to email to the adopter. Send all pre-checked documents and check all documents in the Other category, in addition to the 2 microchip documents, the cat adoption packet, and any attachments you provided, such as kittens, if the cat is a kitten, cat and kid introductions if the adopter has children, cats and cats information if the adopter has another cat, and cats and dogs if the adopter has another dog. So now we're going to talk a little bit about DNA or difficult adopters. DNA stands for do not adopt. Very rarely there may be individuals we ask you not to adopt the cats to if they visit. This is because of a history of abuse or problematic behavior. You will always be notified of this in advance, or you may see a DNA note in a person's Shelter Love profile. So when they fill out that application, it'll pop up and say DNA when you try to add an animal so that you'll know. If you're denying an application, you do not need to explain the reason why you are denying it. If a denied adopter is being difficult, if possible, redirect them to our email, which is adoptions@morrisanimalrefuge.org. Um, but if you have concerns about an adopter or they become frustrated or irate, please call the staff. This is not your job to deal with. Get the staff involved. In the unlikely event that you cannot reach us, please notify a PetSmart manager and they can also deal with the situation. So here are some commonly asked questions. We did get a little bit into this, but just to reiterate for your information, these are just some questions that potential adopters will most likely ask you pretty frequently. Are the cats spayed or neutered? Yes, all of the cats at PetSmart have previously been spayed or neutered, unless otherwise noted. Um, this is what is included in the adoption fee. Are the cats vaccinated? Yes, all of the cats absolutely have been vaccinated against rabies and FERCP. This is one of the qualifications for cats to actually go to PetSmart. So we triple check that these cats have been vaccinated. So they definitely have been. Another super commonly asked question is, hey, how does Fluffy do with other cats or other dogs or children? And what we always tell people is we usually do not have a lot of information on a cat's history, but we can offer information on how to slowly introduce cats to other animals or children that you can include in the adoption paperwork. You can also kind of talk a little bit about cat's personality, such as if there's a cat in the adoption center that you know is pretty shy and nervous, might not be the best option for children, but again, if they're willing to put in the work and the effort, they could be a great pet. If a cat is more laid back, that could be an indication that they would be better with other animals or kids, but again, we really don't know until that cat is in your home. So again, you want to reiterate that we cannot guarantee that a cat likes all other cats, dogs, or kids, even if we know that they have lived with them before. So just like people, cats can be selective with the people they like, the cats they like, the dogs they like, the kids they like. So we really can't judge that for sure, but we can counsel them on, good ways to set them up for success. Another commonly asked question is, what should I do if the adoption doesn't work out? So at Morris, we understand while in a perfect world, we would love every single adoption to work out, but sometimes things just don't. And in the event that someone absolutely needs to return a cat to Morris, they cannot return them to a PetSmart location. They must bring them to our main site. This is because PetSmart management cannot accept the cats. It has to be Morris Animal Refuge staff. Now I'm going to talk about some disclaimers. This is basically a document that will be in a cat's paperwork, that is letting an adopter know of a potential medical or behavioral concern or just something to be aware of. Um, so cats will sometimes have these disclaimers in their paperwork that adopters should sign to say they are aware of a cat's previous history before an adoption is finalized. Disclaimers are a physical paper that we keep on file that can be found in the cat's blue adoption folder. This is the adopter's copy, and in the white binder, Morris's copy. If a cat has a disclaimer, we will make note of it in the cat population channel of the Slack. Some common disclaimers for PetSmart cats include dental disease, heart murmurs, potentially a bite or scratch history, and other disclaimers such as um, a cat would do best in an adults only home, which usually means that the reason that the cat was surrendered is because they previously weren't getting on the best with kids and things like that. So these are things that we will let you know of in the Slack so that you'll be aware of it. Volunteers, however, are not required to know more than what is written on the disclaimer itself. So if you are super worried about this, you can literally just read right off of the paper to the potential adopter. But if you want to learn more about some of these common conditions that we see, we do have some additional resources in the shared drive under PetSmart for volunteers that can be really useful for you. So here's just a note on harassment. Your safety and comfort as a volunteer are our top priorities. You should never, ever have to tolerate any harassment, such as verbal or sexual or any unwanted advances. If a potential adopter is making you uncomfortable and you're comfortable drawing a boundary for yourself by closing the interaction, we encourage you to do so. If you're not comfortable with this for any reason, please call a staff member and we can handle the interaction from that point to minimize your contact with the individual. We will also further investigate instances of harassment as we are looking out for your safety first and foremost. So now just getting into more of the software that you will need to familiarize yourself with. Volgistics is our volunteer management software. You can create a Volgistics account here. This is what you will need to do after you have watched this video and completed the quiz. Once you are approved, you will be able to sign into the current volunteer portal and sign up for shifts and track your service hours. It is the best tool we have for showing off all the awesome work our volunteers do, so make sure to log in and record your hours, as it is vital for the growth and expansion of our programming. So, in terms of follow up, after this orientation, you should take a quiz at this link on the information in this orientation. All volunteers must receive an 100% on the quiz before moving on to the next steps, although you can take the quiz multiple times. You also want to set up your logistics account and send us your proof of COVID-19 vaccination. After we have on record that you have received an 100% on the quiz, you will receive an email with links to access our shared drive with all of the volunteering documents, including frequently asked questions and copy of this slideshow. We will also send you a list of dates for upcoming orientation shifts so that we can get you started with a veteran volunteer or staff member, a reminder to send proof of your COVID-19 vaccination, and a reminder to make a Volga6 account. If you have any questions about anything in this process or about PetSmart volunteering in general, you can either email volunteering@morrisanimalrefuge.org or send me an email directly at fsouth@morrisanimalrefuge.org. Thank you so much.